Okay, so I'm crouched over here looking like a weirdo, but have you ever wondered what these things are? Because I know what they are, and I'm about to tell you. They're pine flowers. These are the male pine flowers. The female pine flowers go on to become pine cones. So, yeah, the more you know. So, a lot of people will tell you different ways that you can tell lichen from moss. And a lot of those ways are kind of iffy and wishy-washy. Lichen usually looks like coral or like a bubblegum stain on the sidewalk or on branches. Also, additionally, in dry weather, lichen will retain its color and its crustiness, whereas moss over here, and you see that hairy looking thing? That hairy green thing is moss. The coral looking light teal thing is lichen. Moss, when it dries out, turns brown and is still soft and fuzzy, but a little bit bristlier. Lichen, on the other hand, just kind of doesn't care. So it's been warming up lately, so these are getting harder to find because they kind of dissolve when it gets too dry. But these flat, kind of crusty looking, but they're actually soft, bright green things are not lichen. These are what's known as liverworts. They're a non-vascular plant species similar to this hairy green stuff in between them. Similar to moss, but less complicated. Basically, they're one giant leaf, but without any veins. So, mosses and liverworts transport liquids similar to how a sponge transports liquids. Meaning that they're not very good at it. Whereas other plants, like this tree root here, hold on, I'm getting a tree root in focus. There's a tree root, I promise. Like this tree root here, they transport liquid the way that a pipe transports liquid. So, yeah, the evolution of plants, homies. That's all. And then lichen are actually a species of fungi, but they're very plant-like in nature, which is kind of fascinating to think about. So yeah. Oh, I think this one might be making spores right now. Those look like a fruiting body type deal. Those little cups on the leaves. So yeah, when it rains, all of the juices that make a baby liverwort are gonna mix together and make baby liverworts. So that's kind of cool. Alright, see y'all. Okay, so remember when I said that some lichen look like stains of bubblegum? Well, these are young patches of lichen, which is why they're all spotty like this, but, yeah. See, I can't tell if some of this is just the rock crystals, or if it's also lichen. But that's because lichen looks like this. It looks like little stains, dude. Sometimes it looks like coral growing on a tree, and other times it looks like someone stuck a wad of bubblegum there. So, yeah. The more you know, I guess. Alright, see ya. So this is what moss looks like when it's dried out, whereas lichen looks more or less unchanged. So yeah, food for thought. So you see these brownish green dots on the rocks? And how they're kind of like wiggling around? Under some circumstances, this stuff can look like moss. But it's actually commonly referred to as rock snot, and it's just a semi-multicellular algae. So, yeah. It's interesting how all of these wildly different organisms can... That's lichen again, by the way. It comes in a variety of colors and shapes. How all of these different organisms can evolve to be very similar, but they all have their own tricks and lifestyles. It's kind of cool. That's all. See y'all. Doesn't that tree look like a great place to chill? Alright, see y'all. I take it back. This tree is the coolest place to chill. Oh my god, I could imagine reading a book with some headphones on. Oh, dude, that would be awesome, dude. That would be so chill. Alright, see y'all. So I believe that these are what Pikmin are based off of, but don't quote me on that. They're pretty though, aren't they? Alright, see ya. Another reason I think these are what Pikmin are based off of is because they have a recessive gene for pinkish purplishness around the edges there. It's actually that color, that's not from the sunlight. So, I suspect, and I believe I have seen seed varieties for these. I think they're called daisies, but I might be getting them mixed up with something else. Ones that are all the way pink and purple, just like how Pikmin have a pink and purple variant, that's all. Welcome to the bonus features. I'm going to show you a slime mold, but first, Sonic. In the original Sonic CD intro, an intro to a video game that played on a very old game console, it had a little cartoon before you press start. This is what we were shown, okay? And this is what was drawn. And this pinky right here does not look natural. It looks like Sonic hurt himself. So, I used artificial intelligence and a whole lot of filters, which made it look even more like hand-painted. Not sure if that's a good thing, to fix it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the thumb. So, I showed this to someone and they told me it had the wrong number of fingers. It does not, but apparently it like gives off the vibe of having the wrong number of fingers, which is a psychological phenomenon where I believe that you expect there to be the wrong number of fingers because you know that I used artificial intelligence, you will see the wrong number of fingers, so that's interesting. These are baby pictures of my cat Bagheera. You don't see enough of him. He grew up fast. Look at him. Oh, I am gonna say, he likes the Septimus Heap stories, and Angie Sage isn't as outwardly transphobic on Twitter, but that might just be a product of her being less popular. Her stories are still a little bit iffy at times, but Bagheera loves them. They're his happy place, so I read them to him. This is Jack as a baby. Oh my god. So this is some more AI-generated art based off of a idea I had that I sketched a very long time ago. I think this is a 3D version of it. But it stopped working, so you don't get to see. So this is a lava lamp I coded with ChatGPT's help, but then a 3D or 4D lava lamp, but then I removed the step where you erase the past from the screen, so it has the effect of a smear. It doesn't totally look like a smear, but yeah, it's just a big ball of chaos, and I love it. Here's another version. It's different every time. Here's some woo-woo stuff that I did. Basic idea is neat, but I think there are different ways you could execute the idea, so I'm not necessarily claiming it to be monolithic in any form. Oh yeah, so I made a whole series of little guys one time. AI generated, of course, but still though. I like these little guys too, but the arms, were not properly rendered. Still though. Oh yeah, this place was cool. Oh wait, hold on. It wants me to... It's glitching. 1 second. This is the kind of stuff I like to draw. Look at that. It's all cool looking. One time the moon was too bright, and I think I got abducted by aliens. So, there's that. So this is when I first discovered AI art. I can't tell if the technology's just improved or some aspect of my self-expression has gotten better. Tarot readings. Bro, look, a pipe that makes diffuse lighting. Well, I mean, it's a duct, really, an optical duct. But yeah, ain't that cool? Oh, dude, I gave up on this project, but look, I had a Sonic almost. Oh yeah, I built a boat. And also I built water one time in No Man's Sky. This is my first No Man's Sky boat. So if you actually go to this boat, not much, it's a mess. Oh yeah, this was some natural beauty in an artificial world that I saw. Isn't that pretty? I don't even know what this is. Probably I saw it while I was getting abducted by aliens in the future. This was my friend. He was a scarab. I modeled that TV myself, and I was working on toon shaders and stuff. Well, not the shaders, but... Well, I mean, I didn't program any shaders. I just used the GUI, graphical user interface. Oh yeah, and I really liked my suit back then. Yeah. Oh yeah, this was my invention. It had a more commanding presence than my VR treadmill, though. This thing was large. I dismantled it, but the general idea is you would put black and white CRTs, and it would use semi-transparencies and periscope stuff to make an image appear. It's not a fundamentally flawed idea, but it was a fundamentally flawed execution. So, yeah, that. I used to be able to draw like this, dude. That's a dragon made out of mud. And it's actually a golem, though. And that slit in the tree has its core, which is its heart. So, yeah. That. And that's a little robot in outer space. Oh, yeah, I painted this in high school, bro. The art assignment was a heart. So, I took artistic liberties and I made a Majora's Mask variant. So, yeah. You know, the most ironic thing about Nautiluses is that everybody confuses them for ammonites. And you know, that makes sense, because Nautiluses are even older than ammonites, and somehow the ammonites are the ones that went extinct. Fundamentally, a Nautilus is like a very weird squid that like is part shell, so it's like a turtle squid, basically, because turtles can't take their shell off. It's part of their body. It's like an external spinal cord type thing. Ammonites were nautiluses with octopus tentacles and more developed eyeballs. Because the reason its eyeball looks like a butthole is because its eyeball is basically a pinhole camera. So, yeah. It's weird that these guys, the more ancient one, is the one that didn't go extinct. And their cousins that eventually became octopi are the ones that went extinct. Nature's weird, man. So I didn't know it at the time, but this is called bokeh. So when you like those little light words like the Sailor Moon intro or old photographs, you're looking for bokeh. That's B-O-K-E-H. I found the slime molds. Okay, so this patch of green is a moss. These tall teal stalks are lichen. That's normal, but the weird red slime on them, I don't see that very often, which implies it's a rare occurrence, just like a slime mold is. So this is an unconfirmed slime mold species. However, I'm thinking it is a slime mold. And now, for those of you who are not as nerdy as me, you may be wondering, what is a slime mold? A slime mold is a very interesting organism because amoeba are single-celled animals, and so some of the amoeba have learned to flock like a flock of birds, but they take it a step further, and under certain circumstances the flock becomes a singular, and for a microscopic organism, giant single-celled organism. Well, giant by single-celled standards, because you're looking at it. That could be a single cell right there. Now, the way they can get away with this is because they have multiple nuclei, and also each one of them is packing their own lunch, and they only stay that way for a short period of time. There are giant single-celled organisms that stay that way permanently, but they tend to live at like the bottom of the ocean, and they tend to have a very ruffly, frilly surface, like a loofah or no, not a loofah. What am I thinking of? Like those little bath things that you scrub with, where it's like a bunch of hold on, I'll just show you. See, it looks almost like a coral. See how it's got like those swirly ridges? That's because diffusion does not scale. Diffusion is like a sponge. These guys have to work like a sponge. So they need a very large surface area in order to do that. And that's why they're swirly and whirly and have lots of thin walls like that, because if they didn't, they wouldn't get oxygen. It's the same reason that gills... So this is a cute little guy. It's called an axolotl, or I could be pronouncing that wrong, sorry. An axolotl, or maybe something I can't pronounce. But, see, those horns are actually his gills, and they're soft. And the hair on his horns is not decorative. It's crucial to the function of the horn itself. It has to be thin so that it can diffuse oxygen and gases into and out of the water. Many microorganisms actually do not need lungs, and they do not need gills either. Their skin and their body and their organs are small enough and thin enough that the oxygen just gets in there on accident sometimes. So having a breathing organ is only something you need when you scale. And that's the same reason that large single-celled organisms are either only that way for a temporary period of time, like the slime mold, or alternatively, they're very gnarly looking, like the deep sea amoeba. Because the only way that you can get nutrients in and out of your body is if you're hairy. So yeah. Ain't that neat? Alright, see y'all.